welcome to the show. It is Wrestling Uncensored. I am Dave Simon, Johnny North, right here with me, here with you each and every week, talking professional wrestling. You can check us out online. We are on ringsidereport.net. That's the home of everything on the Ringside Report Network. We've got Ringside Report MMA. We've got everything going on in the UFC. You can check that out all on our website at ringsidereport.net. Dave and Johnny Live, our YouTube show that we do each and every week. And, of course, What's Phantom in Japan, all your New Japan Pro Wrestling news. That show dropped. A new episode this week because we are midway through the G1 Climax tournament. Some fantastic wrestling going on in Japan. Here on this show, we talk about the WWE, everything going on in World Wrestling Entertainment. We are on the road to Summerslam, and if you're listening to this and you're not watching the show, you can watch the show on our YouTube channel. You can go to our YouTube channel right now at youtube.com/ringsidereport.net, youtube.com/ringsidereport, DOTNET. Subscribe, click the bell so you get the alerts whenever we're on. You can leave a comment on the video as well. Like the video. More info for everything that we do, all the Ringside Report Network stuff is on our website at ringsidereport.net. And there is a lot of stuff.
There's a lot of Dave Simon, that's for sure.
Is there too much Dave Simon? Should we do some shows without me?
It wouldn't feel right if you weren't there.
No?
It wouldn't seem the same. It seemed very different.
I wouldn't mind doing a couple shows without me. It would put some pressure off of me because the one common theme in all the shows I mentioned is me. I'm on all those shows. It would be nice to take a little bit of a break. Right?
It doesn't work without Dave Simon.
I guess not, Johnny
It exists
North.
because of Dave Simon.
Well, Wrestling Uncensored doesn't work without you. Ringside Report doesn't work without Freddie and AJ. And, of course, What's Phantom in Japan without the Green Phantom? It would just be What's Japan. So, What's in Japan? Without Phantom, it's really not a show.
You got your sidekicks in the right place.
Are you a sidekick?
I think so, if I not.
Wow. I consider you the main event of Wrestling Uncensored. I think I'm just the sidekick of every show.
You're the host. You're definitely not a sidekick.
Well, I'm kind of the guy who's pushing everything along. I'm the ringleader. I'm the master of the circus that is the Ringside Report Network.
On the website, you're Bobby Heenan.
Am I?
Well, you're the brain, right? So, yeah.
The brains of the operation. Right. So more info on all the stuff we do, ringsidereport.net. Johnny North, we got a lot of WWE to get to here over the next hour, and I want to get right into it. The Raw reunion happened on Monday night. It was a cavalcade of stars from the past and a showcase of current stars. It wasn't really a wrestling show. It was more of a display of what they have. It was an exhibition episode of Monday Night Raw. It didn't really feel like an ordinary show. And at the end of the 3-hour wrestling broadcast, nothing was really accomplished. What storylines progressed? What did we really learn after the 3 hours of Raw? I don't think we learned very much at all.
I think we just had some new 24/7 champions. That was pretty much all that we really progressed in.
So we saw a lot happen, but in the end, nothing really happened, and I think you bringing up the 24/7 title is a perfect illustration and really a metaphor to the whole episode of Monday Night Raw, because R-Truth started out Raw as a 24/7 champion, and he ended Raw as a 24/7 champion. Many different people held the title throughout the show, but really, after all was said and done, nothing really happened, and in the end, it was status quo. And that really is what we saw from Monday Night Raw. We saw Braun Strowman beat up a jobber for no apparent reason, and that didn't really prove anything other than, well, Braun Strowman is big and strong. It was just a display of, hey, this is Braun Strowman. If you don't know him, here he is. He beats up people. Look how big he is. Look at him beating up this guy who's much smaller than him. What was the point of that? What was earned by that from Braun Strowman? You know, what did Braun Strowman earn from all of that? Absolutely nothing. The character gained nothing. He didn't advance in any kind of way. He did stuff that he'd been doing 3-4 years ago in the WWE, just beating up some unknown guy. Roman Reigns wrestled Samoa Joe in a short match, beat him with a spear. What was gained from that? Absolutely nothing. Joe gained nothing. Roman gained nothing. There was no point to any of it, and that was really the entire show. A lot of nothing. There was a lot of stuff. A lot of people were on the show. We saw so many different people, but mostly just in short cameos, 60 seconds, in and out. You say a thing that you're remembered for or not. You just kind of show up, and you move along, and we don't see you again the rest of the show until the end when everybody comes out to do a beer bash with Stone Cold. A lot of stuff, a lot of, little segments and little jokes, but mostly filler. And nothing that really advanced the story, advanced the WWE, helped any of the current wrestlers in any way.
Not completely true. Mick Foley and Bray Wyatt, The Fiend, they did progress in that sense.
Okay, you're right. One instance. You found the exception.
I think so. It seems like
Anything else?
Oof. Not really. Not so much.
So I'm not wrong, John.
No. Unfortunately. But
Because you like when I'm wrong?
Well, I just like it when they actually have it where you see legends interact with the current stars and they put the current stars over, and it shows like you should care about these guys. Like, I think care more about Bray Wyatt because what he did to Mick Foley.
There was very little interaction between the current stars and the legends. The legends were mostly backstage talking to each other.
Well, we started the night with John Cena. He had the interaction with the Usos. I thought that was fine. Kind of.
Oh, yeah. And I want to get to that because one of the Usos got arrested. But I think maybe one of the most entertaining parts, like let's start with the good parts and then we'll get to the bad.
All right.
I think the 24/7 title was fun because they at least passed it around to some legends.
People I didn't expect. I mean, we saw the first ever females win the championship.
We saw Pat Patterson become the oldest person ever to hold a WWE title.
I figured.
So R-Truth lost the title to Drake Maverick, who then lost the title to Pat Patterson. And I like the little segment that they did with Pat and Drake Maverick, where Drake Maverick is hiding in the locker room, and then the boogeyman shows up, and Drake gets scared, and he falls over. Pat Patterson just shows up with a referee, kicks Drake Maverick a few times, pins him, and becomes a new 24/7 champion. I thought that was good. Later on, you saw Patterson just kind of sitting down.
Right.
Like, he didn't even lie down on the ground. He's 78 years old, and he's been a professional wrestler for most of his life, so his body's been through it. I guess he can't lie down and get up that easily. So they just had him kind of slouch down. We don't know how he got there. And then Gerald Briscoe, his ex-stooge partner, pins him to become the 24/7 champion. And then Kelly pins Gerald Briscoe somehow and becomes the 24/7 champion.
Shot.
Yeah, punched him in the groin. And then she becomes the first ever female 24/7 champion. She gets rolled up by Candice Michelle. And her shorts were very short for the roll-up there from Kelly. I don't know if you noticed that, but it was like, whoa, what's going on here? And then Candice Michelle got choked out by Alundra Blaze. Alundra Blaze shows up and chokes out Candice and forces her to tap, which I think is the first ever submission loss of the 24/7 title.
I think so.
Okay, so there's that. Usually it's pinfall. History being made, Johnny North.
A lot of history.
Huh. And then Alundra Blaze is out on the stage, and of course, what is she famous for? Not as Alundra, but as Medusa in WCW. She threw the WWF at the time Women's Championship in a trash can live on Nitro. That was a big moment in the Monday Night Wars. So, of course, that's all they have, so they're going to replay that angle. She goes out to throw a 24/7 title away in a trash can for no reason in particular.
Because that's what she's famous for, like you said.
Yeah. And then the $1 Million Man, Ted DiBiase, says, no, don't throw that away. Here's a bunch of money. I will buy the 24/7 title off of you, which I liked. I thought that was probably the best bit in this long-running 24/7 title bit where the $1 Million Man comes out. I didn't know he was there, so I didn't really expect it. And then, when Medusa's going to give the title down in the trash can, I'm like, oh, what's going to happen here? Then Ted DiBiase comes out. He's like, I'm going to buy it from you. I'm like, yeah, that's great. That's on gimmick. I'm with that. I enjoyed that part. I thought that was the best use of the Legends in the 24/7 title thing.
Agreed.
Fiasco.
Yep.
And then you have a limousine that Drake Maverick enters, and there's some shaking around, and you hear 1, 2, 3, and then Drake Maverick exits, and he is, I guess, beat up Ted DiBiase. Not really, but takes a 24/7 title back. He goes to celebrate. He's about to jump in a limo with his wife to go consummate the marriage, because that's still a thing that's going on. They haven't consummated their marriage. That's like a month old at this point, because Drake's too obsessed with the 24/7 title to give his wife the proper attention. Even though Drake seems like he really wants to consummate the marriage, I don't understand where the disconnect is. Like, why haven't they done it yet? She seems like she's into it, but she's just annoyed that Drake has a 24/7 title, and then Drake seems like he's into it, but then the 24/7 title, it doesn't make sense, right?
It's a three-way.
It's stupid. A three-way 24/7 title, Drake Maverick and his wife. So Drake loses the title back to R-Truth as he's about to get into the limo. Truth rolls him up. Truth winds up 24/7 champion again. He's like 30-time champion at this point. It doesn't really matter.
12 or something.
Whatever.
But he escaped in the limo with Drake Maverick's wife.
Yes, that's true. That was a funny part too. R-Truth jumping in the limo, and he told the limo driver to go. And then Truth and Drake's wife speed off in the limo together, and Drake seems more concerned that his title has been taken from him rather than his wife, because that's the whole joke. Drake is more concerned with the belt than his wife and his marriage and all that. Because he was 24/7 champion going into his wedding, and then at the wedding, as he's walking away from his vows, R-Truth rolled him up to take the title back. So the wedding, the wife, the title, R-Truth, Drake Maverick, it's all been a long-running thing. Where it will go, I'm not really sure, but it did provide for, I guess, the best use of the Legends, other than Stone Cold, on Monday Night Raw.
And we also saw how they've introduced it where you don't need to see the pinfall for this to actually count, where things can happen and we don't actually see the actual pin or even a tap out. It could just happen, just be like, well, there's a new champion.
So really anybody could be champion because you don't have to see them lose.
Exactly.
Ted DiBiase, nothing happened to Ted DiBiase. He came out, he won the title by giving Alundra Blaze some money. He lost the title by not being in a shaky limo, I doubt he was even in the limo that Drake Maverick jumped into. So you can do whatever you want. It's fine.
Well, really, anyone can become the champion now, so it's quite interesting where they could go with this.
Anyone, even me.
Well, I don't know if that's going to happen, but good luck.
Come on. I want to be champion. I want to be 24/7 champion. Look, just know that if R-Truth is anywhere near us, okay, I want you to get a referee shirt ready.
All right.
Okay, and your camera, because we're going to do this guerrilla style. If we see R-Truth, we attack him for shoot, we take his title, and we are the new 24/7 champion. If we put it on Instagram, WWE cannot refute us.
I don't know, because Melina had to get a license, apparently, to become a referee, right? For that thing to count for Candice, Michelle?
Okay, so you have to have an officially licensed WWE ref. So we can't just attack R-Truth in the street with a referee costume and become champion? That's not how it works?
No, it actually has to be a legit referee.
Do you have to be a WWE superstar to become 24/7 champion? Seems like it.
It would make more sense, no?
What are the rules to this thing? How am I supposed to get my title, John? How am I supposed to get my title? Mick Foley didn't get the title. He said he wanted it. He was used pretty well. He was there cutting a promo, and then Bray Wyatt, or I guess not Bray Wyatt, he's The Fiend, right?
Right.
The Fiend attacked Mick Foley, put him in the mandible claw, which made sense. Like, he's not going to hit him with a move. He's not going to make Foley bump. So you put the claw on Foley, you bring him down to the mat. He doesn't actually fall, but he can act like he's hurt.
Also, it's probably just a better way to do it, because given Bray Wyatt's finisher, I don't know if Mick could have taken that very well. So it just probably was best for it to be like that in the end.
Yeah, and it was fine. And Bray Wyatt had a little deal with Finn Balor, and it looks like it's going to be Finn versus Bray at SummerSlam, right? That's official, actually, for SummerSlam. It will be The Fiend, Bray Wyatt, against maybe the Demon Finn Balor or maybe just regular Finn Balor.
Well, we're expecting Finn Balor's going to be leaving WWE for a little bit, leave of absence.
Right,
so,
that's the rumor, and apparently it's going to be after SummerSlam.
So I'm expecting it's just going to be regular Finn Balor, and then maybe come back as the Demon.
For revenge.
Right.
That makes sense. So that was Raw as far as the 24/7 title. The other thing that they did well, I think, was have Stone Cold Steve Austin end the show. I liked that part.
It was fun.
You know, they had a lot of legends. We're going to get to the bad legend use in a little bit, like the kind of head scratchers, the weird ones. But I thought Steve Austin's promo was really good. First, they have Ric Flair come out to the stage. I don't think that was a good use of Flair. He just stands on the stage. His music plays. All the legends who are on the show already come out. They just cheer for Flair.
Right.
Then Hogan comes out, does a little bit, says, "What you gonna do when Hulkamania and the Raw reunion run wild on you?" It's like, look, the Raw reunion's over, and it has not run wild on me, Hogan. So, you know, this promo is not good. Did you notice Triple H and Shawn Michaels standing behind Hulk Hogan looking unimpressed and unhappy that he was talking?
They're just being cool. That's it.
I don't know. A lot of people had smiles on their face, seemed to be enjoying themselves. Triple H and Shawn, not so much. I don't think they like Hogan. Didn't seem like they liked Hogan when you look at their faces while he's cutting a promo. They did not seem happy. Not Hulkamaniacs.
Well, let's remember, Shawn wasn't put over by Hulk Hogan.
Yeah, I don't think Shawn likes Hogan.
Yeah, so. And it's probably difficult for Triple H to work with Hogan as well in the past because they had a match as well, and Hogan went over both those guys.
Yeah. That's right. And they don't like losing, especially not to Hogan. So, yeah, go back and watch that. If you notice, you see their faces, Triple H looks angry. His face changed, though, when Stone Cold came out. Smile. Right? So you notice there's a difference. Like, okay, something's going on here. Triple H clearly is not a fan of Hogan because when Austin came out, his demeanor changed completely.
I thought he was going to push through RVD. It looked like Austin.
That was awesome. Austin comes out just through the crowd of legends, right? And RVD kind of like, he's right there.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Hey, Steve, how's it going?" But Stone Cold is in Stone Cold mode.
Yeah.
So when he sees anybody tap him on the shoulder, he just gives him a look like, "What are you doing, son?" Like, Stone Cold looked like he was going to kill RVD. Like he was going to stun him on the spot, stomp a mud hole, and walk it dry. And I would have loved to have seen that. But he was intense, you know?
Yeah.
And as soon as he did that, it was great because there was a lack of intensity. There was a lack of caring, really. Like, it didn't feel like Flair was out there, whatever. He's just out there, stands there. Hogan's out there, does his usual thing, doesn't really do anything special, doesn't do anything different. It's whatever.
Yep.
You know, so you're like, okay, this is the end of Raw, this is it. But then Stone Cold comes out. He looks mad, right? He's like doing his power walk to the ring. He looks at RVD who touches him and he's like, "What are you touching, boy? Like, I'm going to kill you." Like, it was awesome. It was, it's Stone Cold Steve Austin. This is Texas Rattlesnake. This is the man. This is the guy I want to see. And he's mad and he's open for business. You know, it's like, it brought back the real feelings of, oh yeah, Stone Cold's coming and he's about to raise some hell.
But the promo, I thought he was very giving in terms of all the other superstars.
Sure. He was nice in his promo. He comes down to the ring, drinks a few beers, right?
Yeah.
Before the promo even starts, he's drinking beers.
Apparently his own beer now too, right?
Yeah, Stone Cold's got his own beer. He says, "Give me a hell yeah, big hell yeah, huge hell yeah," right? Fantastic. Yep. In Tampa, Florida. Austin talks about all the people on the stage and on the road, says they're all family. Stone Cold says all the people in the arena and everybody watching at home, we're all part of the family. Kind of hokey, kind of whatever. You know,
I like the look into the camera thing. That was nice.
Yeah, it was all right. But then it picked up. Stone Cold said he spent the whole day with Hulk Hogan, doing a podcast, drinking beer, eating sushi. I like the drinking beer, eating sushi with Hulk Hogan because I pictured it. You know, I pictured Steve Austin and Hulk Hogan kicking back, having a good old day, drinking some beer, and eating some sushi. Fantastic. And then he says, he didn't really spend a lot of time with Hogan, didn't know him that well, so it was nice to spend some time with Hulk Hogan. And then he says he spent last night up all night listening to the Nature Boy tell stories and drinking all the beer in the bar. And then Stone Cold says he went back to his room, got some room service, ordered a steak, ordered a hamburger, what? Ordered some pancakes, what? Like did the whole, quesadilla, what? All that stuff. Talked about all the food that he ordered from room service. Great bit. I enjoyed it. And then Stone Cold says he went back down to the bar, found Ron Simmons, and beat him to the punch, said, damn, before Ron could say it to him. Austin says he hugged Ron, and then he partied with Mark Henry and the Godfather and the Boogeyman, and then he invited everybody into the ring for some beer, and he had a beer bash, and he said, that's the bottom line, because Stone Cold said so. And then he's like, well, how much time we got left, son? And they're like, oh, yeah, you got a minute. He's like, oh, we got 60 seconds? All right. And he's like, he starts critiquing his own promo. He's like, I didn't really know what I was going to do here, but I talked to Jonathan Coachman backstage, and he said, hell, Stone Cold, just be you, just be yourself. And that's what I did, and I think it turned out all right, and I love all you guys, and don't be thinking I'm going to send any kind of Christmas cards or any of that expletive. He dropped an S-bomb right on live TV, and he's like, all right, thanks everybody for watching. Hell yeah. And then that's how the show ended. Yeah. Stone Cold swearing, Stone Cold drinking more beer. He also said, hey, Gerald Briscoe, I remember one time we were in South Africa and we were breaking the law, but we're not going to talk about that. And I was like, what was that? It was just a great little Stone Cold non sequitur. Just a great promo from Stone Cold. It was loose. It was off the cuff.
Yep.
It was wild. It got a little bit risque. He swore. He was drinking beer. He talked about breaking the law. He said some things that maybe he wasn't supposed to, but that's why we love Stone Cold Steve Austin. He's an outlaw. He's the toughest SOB. He's the BMF. He's Stone Cold Steve Austin, and he brought it. He delivered the show. He saved the show as far as I'm concerned. I didn't think that the Raw reunion was very good, and if you don't have Stone Cold in that main event spot, if you don't have that promo to end the show, I think the Raw reunion is awful. But Stone Cold made it worth watching. He made it worthwhile, and that's the power of, the greatest ever, Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Well, it helps that he has the power to kind of say what he wants, because a lot of WWE superstars are pretty much told you have to say this exactly, and he can just kind of go out there and do what he wants. That's why it felt so good, because it was more natural than a lot of the promos we see week in, week out.
He is one of the best ever, right? And he was given a lot of that leeway, and you see what you can do when somebody is good and they're given the creative freedom to go out there and do what they want. And that's what Stone Cold did, and that's what made him a superstar to begin with. And that's why he's still good today, because he's talented, he can talk, he knows his character, he knows what he should say, he knows what he shouldn't say, and he knows, sometimes he should say some of the things he shouldn't say, and he can get away with it, because that's how you get over. That's how you become a star. Stone Cold is one of the greatest stars this wrestling business has ever seen, and we saw that again on Monday night,
Yeah, we did. I like the idea that he kind of proposed that they should do this every year kind of thing, that he'd come back for it.
Stone Cold should come back more than once a year, I think. Once every 6 months, have Stone Cold stun somebody and do a promo. He's so good, it's almost a shame that you don't use him more than you do.
Well, he has a new reality show coming up, so I imagine he'll be busy.
What I'm saying is, though, he's gold,
Right. But he's got other things going on. He has his own podcast going on. Yeah. He doesn't need WWE.
Or WWE might need him.
Well, of course, but they got to move on. And they should have moved on by now. Come on.
Well, they haven't. Clearly, they haven't. The lack of interaction between the main roster stars and the legends was a real misstep for the Raw reunion show, right? It was it felt really slapped together. Like, okay, let's get to some bad parts. So, Sami Zayn is wrestling Rey Mysterio.
Cool.
Cool.
Yeah.
Sure, cool. How was the match?
Oh, not great. Unfortunately.
Yeah. There wasn't much of a match.
No.
Rey hit a couple moves. Sammy's like, oh, I'm leaving. I'm not going to have this match. He decides to walk out of the match. He bails on it. Rob Van Dam comes out in full wrestling gear for some reason. Why was he in full gear?
Why not?
He's not wrestling.
Yeah, but you remember RVD in his full gear. I mean, he doesn't really have like a t-shirt kind of thing.
I guess, but it was weird that can he wear like one of his Impact Wrestling shirts? That was the other thing. RVD's in Impact Wrestling. He wrestled on Slammiversary. What's he doing on Raw?
Impact allowed it. It's okay. They don't mind.
And WWE doesn't care either because Impact doesn't matter to them. So Sammy decides to bail on the match. RVD comes out, and Sammy's like, oh, no. Oh, what am I going to do? And then that's not enough. Like, RVD wasn't enough to scare Sammy. You had to bring Sergeant Slaughter out, which, like, what's he going to do at this point?
Yep.
You know? Thank God he wasn't in full gear. He was wearing his little suit and his hat. The Hurricane comes out, also in full gear, by the way, which was bizarre, but It's a gimmick. It's a character. It makes more sense than RVD.
A bit.
And Kurt Angle in a suit.
Well, Kurt was, professional.
What is this team? Sergeant Slaughter, the Hurricane, Rob Van Dam, and Kurt Angle. You know what this is? The WWE brought them all to the show because they're like, oh, who do we bring? They sat in a room and they're like, who do we bring? Who can we get? And they just threw a bunch of legends up on a board and then started making phone calls. They got everybody in. They didn't think, what are we going to do with this person? What are we going to do with RVD? What are we going to do with Sergeant Slaughter? What are we going to do with Kurt Angle? They never thought about what are we going to do with this person or that person. They just thought about, okay, let's get them on the show. What are we going to do with them? We'll figure it out when they get here, pal. And that's what it was. And that's why Kurt Angle was brought all the way to the show for no reason, really. He was just there. Rob Van Dam, who's still, maybe could have been used in a match. I don't know if Impact would have allowed that, but hey, that would have been cool to see RVD wrestle. Like, have one of the legends wrestle. Not a single one that they brought back had a match at all.
To be fair, I think only RVD really could have had a match, I think.
Angle probably could have, but...
Well, that would ruin the angle, right?
So not a single legend really has a match unless you count the 24/7 stuff, which you don't, right?
Right.
So that's why RVD, Sergeant Slaughter, Hurricane, and Kurt Angle all come out as a unit when they have no relation to each other. There's nothing that ties these guys together. Slaughter's an army man, Angle's an Olympic wrestler, RVD's a weed smoker, and the Hurricane is a superhero. That's their gimmicks,
Odd bunch.
It's like, how are they a group?
All American, I guess. That's all I got.
RVD's All American?
I guess.
I don't think RVD could do his gimmick in the Army or in the Olympics.
No.
He'd fail drug tests.
He's part of the America that people want, I guess.
The real America.
Sure.
Made no sense. Okay, John? You know it makes no sense. I know it makes no sense. And the whole Wrestling Uncensored universe knows that there's no reason for Kurt Angle, Rob Van Dam, the Hurricane, and Sergeant Slaughter to come out together. But that's just a product of, we have them here. How do we use them? I don't know. How about Sami Zayn insults the legends and says they're not legends, they're just rejects, and Rey Mysterio stands up for them because he's kind of old too. And then, when Sami decides to bail on the match because he's scared and he's a heel, we just have some of the guys show up. Well, who? Whoever's left. Who's here? Slaughter? Oh, we have Slaughter? Okay, we'll have him. Is Hurricane here? Yeah. Okay, we'll use him. RVD. What's RVD doing here? Isn't he an Impact? Yeah, well, we brought him up. Okay, well, let's put him out there. Yeah, you don't want to use him for anything else? Nah, I got nothing. How about give him the 24/7 title? Nah, we're going to do that for Kelly. We got a whole angle going.
It would be kind of crappy for RVD just to lose to a roll-up, though.
Yeah, it would. Sure, but it wasn't good, right? And it was just a lot of that. The Street Profits are hanging out backstage. Angelo Dawkins is putting eye drops in his eyes because he was hanging out with RVD. I thought that was pretty good.
It's kind of funny.
You know? And he's just hanging out with all the legends, and that's pretty much it. Just name-dropping people, and Montez is jealous because he wasn't at the party with RVD and Mark Henry and Kelly, Ric Flair, and the Boogeyman. And then there's a lot of, legends on commentary for a match. Jerry Lawler did commentary on a match. Jonathan Coachman did commentary. Christian did commentary for a match for some reason.
The first match.
Why?
Because he's a tag team specialist.
Where was Edge?
That's a good question.
Edge is like, nah, I'm just going to be one of the crowd. That's probably why Bret Hart didn't show up either. What's the point? Eric Bischoff is there. Eve Torres was there. Why?
Well, Bischoff may mention, if Maria wasn't happy, that she can come over to SmackDown. Right.
So Mike Kanellis is backstage talking to Eve Torres and Eric Bischoff. Maria's mad. Bischoff says if Maria's not happy, she can come to SmackDown. So Bischoff playing up that he's in charge of SmackDown now.
Yep.
Even though that's supposed to be a backstage role, even though, I don't know, they're kind of showing it as a TV role.
Heyman said it, too.
It's very confusing what they're actually doing. And then Maria gets mad at Mike, says he was supposed to put lotion on her belly so she doesn't get stretch marks. Because if she gets stretch marks, she won't be able to be a model and provide for the family with her modeling jobs, because Mike is no kind of man and he cannot provide for his family, because that's the angle that he and Maria are running. And then Ron Simmons shows up and he borrows Jimmy Hart's megaphone to say damn to Mike Kanellis. So Jimmy Hart was really just there to be backstage in a couple segments talking to other legends. He didn't do anything. Ron Simmons is just there to say damn a couple of times. Like, so many of these people were just brought in and not really used in any significant way. Santino was backstage for a moment. Santino is a guy, one of the funniest, most entertaining, charismatic guys the WWE's ever had. And he was in a backstage promo with Alicia Fox, Dana Brooke, and Caitlyn for some reason. Alicia was discussing her SummerSlam hat choices. And Alicia, I guess, is now one of the legends. Like, I wasn't clear on that. I thought she was still part of the Raw roster, and then she's on this show. She hasn't been on Raw in, I guess, a couple months. She was on this show, and then at the end, when they brought out all the legends to cheer for Flair, she was there. So
Right.
I guess she's a legend now?
I guess so.
What? So Alicia Fox was there talking about her SummerSlam hat choice, and Tori Wilson shows up and gets hugs all around, and Santino shows up, and they ask how his sister's doing, and he says she's under the weather. Little Santina joke, and they ask about Santino's little friend, and he's like, little friend? Oh, you mean the Cobra. So he brings out the Cobra, and the Cobra is sniffing the neck of Tori and of, Alicia Fox, and he's flirting with them, and then Drew McIntyre shows up, and he's like, you guys are all pathetic. You guys are legends, and he shakes his head, and Cobra goes down, because he's no longer excited. Drew McIntyre killed the vibe for the Cobra, and that was it from Santino. That's all you got, which for me, as a Santino fan who hasn't seen the guy on WWE TV in years, it's not enough. You bring back a guy like Santino, I want to see more. You bring back these people, and you use them in such small ways, it's kind of unfortunate, and it defeats the purpose of having them on the show at all, right? There's no point to having them there if you're barely going to use them.
But it's not impossible. Maybe they build something up there with McIntyre and Santino, because they're going to be back in Toronto for SummerSlam weekend for Raw and SmackDown. So I could see them use Santino again.
Maybe. Maybe not, though. It didn't seem like that was leading towards something between Drew and Santino. Santino can still wrestle, by the way. I don't know why he's not still in the WWE.
Well, I think he just likes training more.
Yeah, I guess he doesn't want to be, but he's pretty awesome. I don't know. I like Santino, and I was disappointed we didn't get more of him. And there was a lot of that, There was a lot of strange pairings. Speaking of strange pairings, I want to talk about John Cena and the Usos making a joke about something, and then that something happened again to the Uso. An Uso got arrested. Welcome to the Uso penitentiary? I guess.
For real.
We're going to take a short pause here on the radio side. It is Wrestling Uncensored. Lots more to get to. Summerslam around the corner. The Uso arrest up next. All right, welcome back. It is Wrestling Uncensored. I am Dave Simon. He is Johnny North. Follow Big Johnny on Twitter at North Genesis, on Instagram at Genesis Johnny North. You can follow me on all the things at Dave Simon MMA. Be sure to go to our website, ringsidereport.net. It is the online home of the Ringside Report Network. ringsidereport.net, wrestlinguncensored.net. Takes you all to the same spot. You've got everything Wrestling Uncensored, Ringside Report over there on the website. All the YouTube shows available. This very show, Wrestling Uncensored, you can watch and listen to. You can subscribe on iTunes. You can listen to us on the radio. You can listen to us on Google Play. We're everywhere. Everywhere you listen to podcasts or radio, we are there for you, talking professional wrestling.
Just got to search for the show.
Or you just go to ringsidereport.net. It's easy.
Well, that too.
Yeah, I made it real easy. Don't search. Just go to ringsidereport.net or go to the YouTube channel, youtube.com/ringsidereport.net. Subscribe to the channel and click the bell so you get the alerts every time there's new content. That way you don't miss anything.
That's efficient.
How do you like them apples, Big Johnny? Big Johnny Cena was on Monday Night Raw this week. He was back. I was surprised they didn't advertise him.
It's kind of a last-minute thing, it seemed.
It seemed like a last-minute thing. Maybe like, can we get John? Can we get John Cena? And I guess they made a deal with John Cena, and, maybe they said, look, you only have to be there for the beginning of the show, and you can fly out immediately after your segment. And he's like, all right, I'm doing first segment, and then I'm out. Maybe you got the Brock Lesnar deal.
Nothing wrong with that.
So John Cena did show up, which I thought was a big move, considering I wasn't sure how the WWE and Cena were doing, like how their relationship was. Cena didn't wrestle at WrestleMania this year. He wanted to wrestle Kurt Angle, but he didn't get that match. He appeared, but he didn't really do much. Now he wasn't advertised for Raw. I don't think he was going to be there. Maybe they listened to Wrestling Uncensored. I know Stephanie McMahon loves the show. Maybe she was like, oh, yeah, we should get John Cena so he doesn't go to AEW.
It's funny, we got John Cena for this, but we didn't get The Undertaker for this Raw reunion.
Or Brock.
Well, Brock, it makes sense. Brock,
oh,
less
yeah.
dates.
He's just the Raw champion. Why would he show up on a Raw reunion show?
Yeah, it makes no sense. No Brock for this.
It makes perfect sense for Brock to be there. Brock should have been there. But, of course, it's Brock, so he's not around. But, I mean, really, on a show like this, you didn't need Brock because they have so many people. Nevertheless, he is the Raw champion. He should show up once in a while. Make appearances,
Well, what happened to The Undertaker? Like, he showed up and now he's gone again?
I think we're done with Taker.
Again?
Well, maybe he'll wrestle Drew. Maybe they'll set that up. But they don't seem like they're setting it up. Maybe he got hurt in his match at Extreme Rules.
It's unfortunate.
I don't know. It did seem like we're going to see Taker versus Drew McIntyre at SummerSlam. Maybe that's up in the air now.
Or maybe it's just we're going to see it, but down the road, I guess.
Drew McIntyre beat up Cedric Alexander on Raw this week. There wasn't a match, just a beatdown.
Maybe that's the SummerSlam match.
Really?
Well, if you don't have Taker, you need something, right?
Cedric Alexander is the replacement for The Undertaker? That doesn't make a lot of sense.
Oh, they're trying to push him. I like that they're trying to push new people. It's good.
Yeah, but he's no Undertaker. I think they're trying to push Drew by having him beat Taker, but having him beat Cedric does nothing for Drew McIntyre. But John Cena. Let's stick with the opening promo here. Cena announces all the big stars showing up on Raw. He says he's really happy to be home. He loves the WWE. Da-da-da-da-da. Right?
Yep.
The Usos show up, and they're like, hey, you're home, but you're gone all the time. You've gone Hollywood, John Cena.
He did.
And Cena is like, oh, yeah, Usos, I'm not going to let you play me. And he does a little rap and says, you guys look just like your mugshot when you got arrested.
Rough.
And then the Usos just kind of laugh it off. They're like, ha, 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 ha. They were arrested for DUIs, right?
I want to say one DUI, one was a DWI, I think.
Okay.
Maybe? Yeah.
Driving while intoxicated, driving under the influence, pretty much the same thing. And then this week, Jimmy Uso was arrested again for another DUI. So they're on Raw. They're laughing about it.
Right.
And then 3 days later, Uso is arrested again for another DUI. That's a problem. And the WWE, last time it happened, did nothing to him. It seems like he can do whatever he wants. Whatever happens outside in his personal life is whatever. DUI, I don't know what is the line, what is the limit to what you can and can't do as a WWE superstar. I'm sure RVD would like to know, considering he got the WWE title taken away from him for a similar incident. I mean, he was found with some drugs in the car, but it was weed, I think.
I think this is worse because wasn't there some sort of an altercation with the officer? Because he put his phone to his face or something, and the officer had to put him in handcuffs.
Yeah, well, Jimmy Uso apparently was belligerent and was giving problems to the police officer, but he wasn't charged with anything other than the DUI.
Sounds a lot worse.
Still not good. Not good.
Sounds bad. Sounds terrible, actually.
Do you think anything happens to him because of it? Last time there was an Uso arrested for a DUI, they were tag team champions, and nothing happened. They didn't drop the belts. They didn't lose status. They didn't lose anything. They didn't seem to be punished in any way. I guess you can do that in WWE.
WWE released the same statement. They're responsible for their own actions, so it feels like nothing is going to happen again. But it's kind of ridiculous where it's like, well, this just keeps happening. You're not doing anything about it, so there's no repercussions. Of course they're going to keep doing it.
Well, there are legal repercussions.
Possibly.
But it doesn't look good that they're just allowing this guy to continue to work for them, appear on TV, and do this stuff. Like, this guy's obviously got a problem. He's got a problem with alcohol, right? Why is he drinking and driving? Why is he doing this? You're doing this, and it's not your first offense? Get it together, Jimmy Uso. What's going on? He had the incident with Naomi, right? He wanted to fight a cop at one point. Naomi had to hold him back. That was another incident a few months back. What's going on with Jimmy Uso? I mean, probably has some issues because his father has never really been there for him. He was there on Monday Night Raw, of course, because he was booked, and it was a paycheck in it. But if you saw the Total Divas episode where Jimmy Uso got married to Naomi, Rikishi didn't show up.
Ouch.
Wasn't there. His own father wasn't there for the wedding because, he had a booking. He had to wrestle some indie show somewhere. And that was kind of the story that they were putting out there on the episode of Total Divas, how Rikishi wasn't really a father and was absent for most of their lives. And the brothers talked about it together. And you even saw, like, when Rikishi came out, didn't seem to be that loving of a relationship. Like, Rikishi comes out, he doesn't go and hug his sons. He's not, like, super proud. Rikishi comes out and he starts dancing, and it's, like, all about Rikishi, you know? I saw Rikishi come out there with the Usos, and they're like, oh, look, happy family. And I'm like, nah, actually, Rikishi, you're a terrible father, and you have no relationship with your kids. And the kids aren't going to say anything because Rikishi's a beloved guy in the wrestling business, but they're kind of like, yeah. You could tell, man. It was weird. There's a weird vibe there. The body language was strange.
Well, it's sad, but
maybe that has something to do with why he tested, why he had a DUI. Like, trying to forget your problems. See your dad. It's not good. Things happen, right?
It's probably also not good that you laugh about it on TV, and maybe it kind of got to him actually personally. And
I don't know, but that was really weird how they were making jokes about it on TV, and then a few days later, he has another DUI. First of all, nothing to joke about.
Nope.
Second of all, you shouldn't be doing that.
Again.
And third, what a weird coincidence, right? Or maybe it's related in some way,
Well, it makes you think a lot's going on. A lot of bad is going on.
I hope he's all right, but I also hope he stops drinking and driving. Because you could hurt somebody, You could hurt innocent people. It's one of the worst things you can do. Do whatever you want to yourself. If you want to drink yourself to death, that's your problem, as far as I'm concerned. But if you want to drink and then get behind the wheel, that's not cool because then you become somebody else's problem and people die and people are seriously injured by drunk drivers all the time. And I don't want to be one of them, and I don't want my family or friends to be one of them. So if you're doing that, stop doing that because it's not good. Do not drink and drive, ever. This has been a public service announcement brought to you by the good folks at Wrestling Uncensored.
It's a good public statement.
Don't drink and drive?
Yeah.
Don't text and drive, too. How about that? I'm adding that to the list. Boom.
Well, don't drive or drink anything under the influence ever. Like, you should never do that.
Yeah, do not drive under the influence of drugs or alcohol.
Right.
It is irresponsible. Okay, Jimmy Uso? Okay, Johnny North? I don't have to worry about you. You're straight edge.
Right, but Jimmy I'd worry about because this happens again and it doesn't seem like he's learning.
And the WWE doesn't seem to care. They're making jokes about it on their TV. They have John Cena, one of their top guys ever, joking about it on TV, and then the Usos laughing it off. And it happens again.
It's rough. I get why they did it, though, on TV, because John Cena needed that big punchline, right? And John Cena needed that huge shock kind of thing that no one would say, but he can say because it's John Cena. I get why they did it. It's just the fact that it happened again this week, it just goes to show you that there's a lot of issues right now with the Usos, it feels like.
Yeah. Uso problems. They're going to find themselves in the real penitentiary, not just the Uso penitentiary. Did you notice that The Godfather was censored on Canadian TV? Was he censored on American TV too?
I only saw it on YouTube, so I wasn't.
Oh, okay.
Sure.
Well, he told Charlie to step aboard the train. I'm not going to say what kind of train, but he said it on TV. But on the Canadian TV feed, it totally cut out.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's kind of odd.
Yeah, you can't say the train. I guess I'm not going to say it on Canadian radio either, right?
I guess you can't say it. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
The train.
Good to know.
The Godfather's train. The Godfather who, I guess we could call it the Lady of the Evening train.
Okay. No choo-choo.
I'm not going there. So that was pretty much Monday Night Raw, the Raw reunion show. We didn't really have much progression as far as the normal storylines. I guess Seth Rollins did a promo on Brock Lesnar.
Devon Dudley came out with a revival for some reason.
Yeah. But that didn't do anything. The Usos had Rikishi in their corner, and the Revival had Devon, and the Usos won. You know, whatever. I guess the Usos beat the Revival, and it was a non-title match, so possibly they've earned themselves a title shot. But if you get a DUI, do you still get a title shot? I guess it doesn't matter. It's not good.
Again, I hope they resolve their issues outside of the ring before they get in the ring.
The Viking Raiders beat Hawkins and Ryder. Give them a title shot over the Usos.
Yeah, but two heel teams against each other? I don't know if they're going to do that.
Are the Viking Raiders really heels, though? I think people like them, and no one really knows whether to feel one way or another about them. I think people are fine with them. I don't think people really hate them. I think people like them more than they hate them. I don't think people really care about them at this point because WWE's done a terrible job in the rollout of these new characters.
Right.
However, I think if you were to ask the average wrestling fan, they'd be like, yeah, I like those guys.
Well, I imagine even in Toronto it'd be fine. However, I just feel because they're facing a lot of the face teams, that by default they're heels.
They're positioned like that, but
right.
I think you could flip them very easily. So Seth Rollins was the guest on Miz TV. Miz showed the footage of Brock Lesnar taking the title from Seth. Seth mocks Brock a little bit, said, "Oh, I'm Brock Lesnar, and I'm big, and I'm this." And I was like, okay, that's kind of a weird thing to do. And the promo got a little bit worse as it went on. You know, it didn't get better. The Seth promo this week was odd and bad. He says, many people want to be like Brock, but not me. I'm Seth Rollins. He's like, Brock's a Seth Rollins wannabe. And I'm like, what?
It's hilarious.
What does that even mean? What? In what way? Brock wants to date Becky Lynch? I don't understand. Brock wants to drop 100 pounds and have no real fighting ability? What are we talking about here? So Paul Heyman shows up and he's like, did you just say that Brock Lesnar's a Seth Rollins wannabe? Heyman's like, what are you talking about? And then Seth's like, listen, Heyman, the best part about this promo was here. When Seth goes, listen, I'm sick of you talking for Brock. If Brock's not going to be here and you're going to come out and you're going to talk for Brock, you're going to have to walk the walk for Brock. Which means if you're going to talk and say mean things to me, I am going to beat you up.
Right.
And Paul Heyman's like, okay, cool. I'll see you later. And then he runs away. That makes sense to me. Like, why hasn't Seth threatened Paul Heyman before? He lets Paul Heyman come out and say all these mean things to him, and then, you know, he just takes it.
Not anymore.
Yeah, punch Paul Heyman. Makes sense. Seth says Brock is not a beast. He's a man, and any man can lose. Any man with 2 hands has a fighting chance. Isn't that what James Ellsworth said?
I think so, yeah.
Right. So Seth basically just a jobber here for Brock. He says Brock will lose at SummerSlam. And tonight, I'll prepare myself for Brock Lesnar by going one-on-one with Seth Rollins. Or, I mean, AJ Styles. Sorry. He is Seth Rollins.
He is Seth Rollins.
He is Seth Rollins. Brock Lesnar is a Seth Rollins wannabe. What was that? Whose idea was that? What does that mean? What am I supposed to understand by that? What was that? I was baffled by that. I was like, what does that even mean?
Yeah, it's weird, but that's the Seth Rollins character where he's already the villain in a sense. So he's just trying to make it seem like Brock wants to be like him, which doesn't make a lot of sense.
Makes absolutely no sense. No sense at all.
But Seth Rollins isn't a really good character, so you're going to get stuff like that, unfortunately.
Yeah, the Seth Rollins character is not making a lot of sense these days and not very good. I don't know if it's the Seth Rollins character or Seth Rollins or Kobe Lopez, the man behind Seth Rollins. If you see his Twitter, I would think part of it may be Kobe Lopez, but I don't know. I thought it was Dean Ambrose's fault, but apparently not because Jon Moxley's all right, so who knows? Who knows?
I think Seth Rollins or Kobe Lopez, he believes in himself quite a bit, but to think something like that or to say something like that, I feel like it's character.
Why would Brock Lesnar... Like, that's got to be WWE telling him to say that.
Yeah.
Tell him that Brock Lesnar is a Seth Rollins wannabe. Why? Oh, it's just good. It's just good stuff, pal. Come on, it's good. It's good stuff. We're going to do that. It's good. So then Seth wrestles AJ Styles, and you're like, cool, this is a good match. You like this match. It was good before.
Yeah.
But it's not really a match because we didn't have any matches on Raw this week. It was just kind of a mini showcase to what we could expect from Raw. It was kind of like, hey, if you don't watch Raw, these are the guys we have.
Pretty much.
Right?
Yeah.
We have Roman, we've got Joe, we've got Braun Strowman, we've got AJ Styles, we've got Seth Rollins. These are our wrestlers. We're not really going to show you them wrestling. We're going to show you just a little bit of them wrestling. It was a clip show. It was just like, here's what WWE is and was over the past 30 years.
But
in a 3-hour block.
It made sense because people want to see the legends. They didn't really want to see the people that wrestle now. They don't really care about the people now.
Yeah, that says a lot, though, doesn't it?
Well, it's unfortunate, but it's the way it is.
Seth Rollins goes one-on-one with AJ Styles. It ends by disqualification when Gallows and Anderson, the club, or as they're now being called, the OC, which I thought was Orange County, California, and that show on Fox, the OC. Right. Not a cool name for a group, the OC. So the OC attacks Seth for some reason. Triple H and Shawn Michaels were already there to back up Seth Rollins. So they step into the ring. The OC wanted Too Sweet, Shawn and Triple H, but they do the suck it instead to them, and then they fight them, and then they punch them out of the ring. Then the OC grab chairs, and they're like, we're going to come back and get you. And then Road Dogg, X-Pac, Scott Hall, and Kevin Nash all come out for some reason. Road Dogg and X-Pac have their DX gear on.
Right.
Hall and Nash have their NWO gear on. I guess they're all one group now. Or they're the Clique, even though Road Dogg wasn't in the Clique.
I guess not, but
okay.
DX still counts.
Whatever, it's all one group. None of it makes sense. None of it matters. So Road Dogg cuts a promo telling the OC to leave, and then Seth Rollins does the, if you're not down with that, we got 2 words for you. And then there was a big group hug between all the old guys, and Seth was left out. He was just standing there looking at them sad. There's a picture on the internet that's just great, lonely Seth, and then all the guys hugging. And then eventually they're like, oh yeah, Seth Rollins is here too. And then they brought him in. It just shows how, like, Seth Rollins doesn't matter. Even the legends that come back, they're like, whatever, we don't care about hugging with the new guys because they aren't worthy of being with us. Let's just kind of huddle up all the guys that we actually like, are all the veterans, and leave Seth by himself in the corner looking sad. Triple H kind of poked his head out from the huddle and was like, whoa, 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 we forgot about Seth. Come here, little guy, you know? Poor Seth.
Well,
everybody forgot about Seth.
I think it was to give the Click its own moment, and then to add in Seth Rollins, say that the old generation is welcoming in the new generation. I think that was kind of the symbolism right there.
You think they did it on purpose?
I think so, yeah.
I don't think so.
Okay.
I think they forgot about Seth. It looked like they forgot. Seth looks sad. Then over on SmackDown, quickly, John, not much really happened this week. This week in WWE was all about Raw.
But it's official now, Kevin Owens, Shane.
Kevin Owens
good.
versus Shane McMahon. Shane cut a promo talking about the match. Kevin Owens says he won't quit at SummerSlam. So the stipulation is if Kevin Owens loses, he must quit the WWE. He's not fired. He must quit the WWE.
And they showed it before when Kevin quit last year after losing to Seth Rollins. I like that there's continuity in their storylines now.
Yeah.
Call them out on that.
Okay. I liked that Roman and Kevin booked in the main event doesn't even happen because Drew McIntyre was the referee and Elias was the timekeeper and Shane was the ring announcer.
Right.
And then they all just beat up the heels. So Roman and Kevin Owens just stand tall at the end of the show. That was all right. Not really a match. I also thought the Randy Orton Kofi Kingston promo was really good. Kofi talking about November 16th, 2009, 10 years ago.
I remember that.
When Kofi beat up Randy Orton and everybody was chanting his name, and then Randy used his influence to keep him out of the main event scene. And Randy says, "You're right. I did use my influence to keep you out of the main event scene because you don't belong in the main event scene, and you didn't belong then, you don't belong now. I've been here for 18 years on top, and I don't even have to work hard. You had to work hard to get here. I didn't have to work hard at all throughout my 18 years." I love that Randy finally admits he doesn't work hard.
Well, not all the time.
He's like, all I had to do was be Randy Orton, and I main event WrestleManias, and I got all the titles, and I get everything I want because I'm Randy Orton. That's all I have to do. I don't have to work. I just have to show up and be Randy. Kofi, you have to do a fake Jamaican accent. You have to throw pancakes. You have to work hard. It's easy for me. And Randy's like, it's because of me that you even got your shot at Mania, Kofi. I took out Ali before the Elimination Chamber, and then you took his place in the chamber, and that's how you wound up getting the shot at WrestleMania. Randy says Kofi doesn't deserve the title, and he's going to take it from him whenever he wants, and he's going to RKO him at SummerSlam. So that match official as well. It will be Randy versus Kofi at SummerSlam. I thought that promo was very good. And then Randy interfered in the Kofi match. Kofi beat Samoa Joe by disqualification when Randy tried to RKO Kofi. It didn't work, though, because Kofi avoided it. Kofi and Randy faced off. Joe grabs Randy, gets hit with an RKO, and then as Randy's getting up from the RKO, Kofi hits Trouble in Paradise on Randy. Good little segment there, Kofi and Randy.
Yeah, I'm not looking forward to the match, unfortunately. We've seen them wrestle in the past. They've had okay matches, but nothing that really blows you away.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like this should be a triple threat with Roman because Roman doesn't have a match yet for SummerSlam, so I would book that.
So Kofi Randy is official, but you think they might add Roman?
They should add Roman because Roman's not in a match yet, and he should be in a match.
I liked the Dolph Ziggler promo on Shawn Michaels, too, this week. So Miz TV, hosted by The Miz with Shawn Michaels. Mm-hmm. Then Dolph Ziggler comes out and says a lot of things about Shawn that were true, saying he could have gone down as the greatest of all time, but he shuffles out to the crowd every chance he gets. And she says Shawn's embarrassing as Goldberg in a wrestling ring, just taking a shot at Goldberg right there.
Random.
That was scripted, I think. I don't think they're going to bring Goldberg back ever again. Dolph says Shawn came back last November and he broke his heart. Dolph says Shawn used to be his hero and he was embarrassing in the ring when he came back. And what's more embarrassing is just seeing him as the shell of his former self. And Shawn's like, yeah, well, you know what's embarrassing? Working your whole career, giving everything you've got, but still being known as a second-rate Shawn Michaels wannabe, which was a pretty good line there. Comeback from Shawn, but they were going hard at each other. And Dolph says there's only one second-rate Shawn Michaels, and he's out here right now, and it's Shawn Michaels himself.
Right.
And then Miz gets mad and tells Dolph to do something about it, and then Dolph goes to punch Shawn, but Shawn gets out of the way. Dolph hits Miz, and then Dolph gets a super kick from Shawn Michaels, or Dolph super kicks Shawn Michaels, takes Shawn out,
right,
which was pretty cool. And then Miz chased Dolph out of the ring, but I like the promo from Dolph. I like the promo from Shawn. I like that Shawn took a super kick and went down.
Yeah, it's fun. It's just, where's this leading to? It's not going to lead to Shawn coming back to wrestle SummerSlam.
Maybe Dolph, Miz, Shawn is the ref.
Okay, it's still nothing great. You're still seeing Miz and Ziggler, which
Dolph,
we've
Miz,
seen.
Dolph, Miz, Shawn triple threat.
Shawn's not going to wrestle.
Why not?
That's not going to happen.
Well, it's being admitted that his last match it was an embarrassment on WWE TV. Do you want that to be your last match if you're Shawn Michaels? Maybe you want to come back with some guys that can wrestle and can carry you to a better match, so that could be looked at as your last match. I think if I'm Shawn, I want to wrestle again to make everybody forget about how bad my last match was. Just like Undertaker, when he wrestled Goldberg and it wasn't so good, he came back right away, wrestled Extreme Rules, and it made people forget about how bad the Goldberg match was. I think if Shawn is to come back, it wouldn't be a bad idea to come back and wrestle Dolph and Miz in a triple threat at SummerSlam. It'd be good, it'd be fun, and it'd be a better way to end your career than that last match that he had in a tag team with Triple H against Taker and Kane.
But is that it? Miz and Ziggler, that's the guys to come back against?
Why not?
It wouldn't be AJ Styles?
Well, people are saying Ziggler's like a second-rate Shawn Michaels, so pass the torch. Make him the new Shawn Michaels. Have him beat Shawn with a super kick, middle of the ring.
I just don't think that's high profile enough. I don't think that would be a main event match for SummerSlam. If anything, that's like bottom of the card.
I don't think you need a 58-year-old guy in a high-profile main event match.
You're bringing back Trish Stratus for SummerSlam.
You are? Why?
Because Charlotte needs a match.
Is that what's going to happen?
Yeah, that's what's going to happen.
Cool. That's weird. All right, John North, we are overtime. We got to go. When's your next match? When can people see you in the ring?
It'll be August 3rd. I'll be wrestling Grammy, Quebec at a camping show. More info will be on my Twitter feed at North Genesis.
All right, so check him out at North Genesis on Twitter, at Genesis Johnny North on Instagram. You can follow me on all the things at Dave Simon MMA. Go to the YouTube channel, subscribe, like the video, leave us your comment. YouTube.com/ringsidereport.net is the YouTube channel. Go to our website, ringsidereport.net, for more info on that. I want to thank everybody for helping us out, and I want to thank you for listening and watching. For Johnny North, I am Dave Simon, and this has been Wrestling Uncensored. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.